Hola, hola. Welcome to Soul's Enterprise, Soul's Check In Daily Invocation, the source of inspiration and information for your healing, attainment, and liberation.
Today we wanted to talk about some myths around fasting, or more precisely, some falsifications about nutrition and diet, and some conditionings a lot of us, especially Westerners, have been programmed into that may not apply to everyone universally.
Right.
For example, using myself as an example, in 2020, I did a 7-day dry fast, which means I didn't eat or drink or consume anything for 7 days. No food, no water, no nothing. And there were zero health implications. I was and am radiantly healthy. How many of us have been taught that a couple days without food, week or so without food, you'll die? A couple days without water, you'll die.
Well, I mean, I've heard the generality being 3 days without food, you'll die. 1 day without water, you'll die.
Not true, folks. I can tell you honestly, and I have a witness. Not true. That's one big myth, but
And you're also not the exception to the rule. There are people that this is their lifestyle.
yeah. And that's like a big dramatic myth. More interesting is some subtle teachings, like you have to have meat because there's protein deficits.
Or that you even need protein,
Yeah.
or that it only comes from meat.
India, which is 1.3 or 4 or 5 billion people, is 83% vegetarian. They don't eat meat. And a lot of them are doing just fine. Now, let's be very clear. We're not making any generalized statements today. We're just inviting you to inquire into some beliefs that we're taught. Some people, some body types, do need meat, do need protein. No
Potentially. We
problem.
don't know. We're not dietitians
Yes.
or doctors.
And we're not in touch with every single body there is and body
Right.
type there is. So there are some, but we just want you to look at and question and examine and experiment with some of the conditions that have come in.
Yeah, and the call here is to further embody. So we talk a lot about connection with the self as well as connection with others, but for these pieces around fasting is what is your body telling you? So I shared how my tea fast converted itself because my body didn't want any more tea into a water fast. I didn't plan for that, but I was in touch enough with myself that I could listen to those messages. So much like mindfulness eating practices where you are trained to really be in tune. Am I thirsty? Am I hungry? Why am I craving salt or sweet or etc.? Questioning that it's not coming from a belief, but actually rather what your body really needs and is asking for.
And even stronger than a belief, an indoctrination.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I've been a vegetarian since 2006. Again, I'm radiantly healthy. I remember telling my parents at my first visit back and they were freaking out. Oh my God, what about meat? How do you live? How are you going to live without meat? What are you going to do? And it comes back to the conditioning around, at least in America, we've been promulgated and harped on 4 food groups. This is, when you trace it back, A, it's new, and B, it's a way to make money and get some more money for the meat industry.
And
It's ridiculous.
there's a
No
lot
science.
of there's a lot of documentaries out there that show how arbitrary that food pyramid is,
right.
and how much it changes over time depending on what the government or the food the agriculture lobbyists want. So
Yeah. So just, in a word, always follow the money. So just one myth to debunk today. Forget about the four food groups. But this being about fasting, and talking about fasting this week, I want to talk for a minute about the spectrum of fasting, and another myth promulgated by largely throughout the world, this 3 meals a day. Specifically, there's a fad now, a great fad. I've been doing it for a while and loving it. Intermittent fasting. The great benefits for your body taking a nice longer break of not eating. And so yet again, I can tell you as proof with the witness, you don't need 3 meals a day. I've been fine on 1 meal a day. That's, for me, results may vary. Some people, you might need 3 meals a day. Great, no problem. Find out for yourself. Get into your own body. Listen to your own body and heart and soul.
And for women especially, but definitely men as well, with our lunar cycles, that also means that sometimes our appetite will grow around our moon time. So I intermittent fast on the farm here. It's very easy to do. And I eat a lot less while I'm here. I know we'll go into this at a later date this week around why, because the life itself is so enriching, because we're so much more in touch with the natural biorhythms here on the farm, where we walk barefoot. You experience all of nature, all of the elements, etc. And so I find it much easier to do here versus in an office environment or in the city where I start my morning with coffee. So already my metabolism is asking for more food.
Yeah, that's a great point. It changes. Our dietary needs change based upon where we are. Our dietary needs change, based upon where we are, what's happening, life circumstances, time of the month, many, many factors. Are we tracking that? Are we paying attention, communicating with ourselves? Or are we just in a rote thing, okay, 3 meals a day, coffee in the morning, snack at this time? Because we're not going to get into it too deeply this time, but we just want to encourage you all to inquire and explore around consumption. Like Nadera pointed out, the social aspect, while at work or anything, grabbing the donut and the coffee. And if you want to, go ahead. Let's just do it mindfully. One huge thing that's really come up a lot for me while fasting is the emotional eating. And how many times I want to eat just because I'm feeling bad or feeling lonely or something is up. I was talking with my therapist the other day, and we were talking about how reaching out for a Snickers or a Mountain Dew could be reaching for some sweets for me. So it's really great tracing that back.
So that's our invocation for today, the invitation to connect further with yourself and ask, even if just for today, make it a practice that whenever you reach out for a beverage or a piece of food, ask yourself, why? Where is this coming from? Thank you.
Much love, everyone.